There are very few stadiums in the world that have hosted the Olympic Games on more than one occasion. Today I am visiting one such stadium which is located in the Bois de Vincennes on the eastern edge of Paris. Called Vélodrome Jacques-Anquetil, it was the main stadium for the 1900 Paris Olympics, and in the 1924 Paris Games it hosted the cycling competition. The stadium was also associated with another iconic sporting event, the Tour de France. Let's find out more about the stadium's rich history. I am now joined by Fabien Archambault, who is a sports historian from the Panthéon-Sorbonne University. Thank you, Fabien, for your time. What is the significance of this venue and why were the two games held here?
It's the first sporting venue that has been constructed by the French state and the city of Paris. It was for the Exposition Universelle, Universal Exhibition. Why is it in Vincennes? Because they have constructed the first subway line whose the terminus was here in Château de Vincennes. So it was a way to show the modernity of the city of Paris, because this stadium was constructed by Eiffel. The tribunes are in steel with the same techniques of the Eiffel Tower 10 years before. So that's why this stadium still exists. It's because it has been classified as a historic monument of France. It's a Vélodrome stadium. Cycling was the most popular sport at the end of the 19th century in France. Sport was not a very big thing. Just the great bourgeoisie and the aristocratic elite was playing sport. The only one that was a little bit popular was cycling. That's why the city of Paris, who was left-wing municipality, decides to build one sporting equipment, which was dedicated to cyclism.
What were the features of the 1900 and 1924 Paris Games?
In reality, the 1900 Olympic Games never occurred in Paris. There were some sporting events. It was the international concours of physical exercises and sport. But it was not Olympic Games. It's just for the Olympic Games of 1924 that the CIO and Coubertin decided to take one of the results of the international concours of 1900 and consider them as Olympic results. But the participants of the sporting events in the Universal Exhibition in Paris in 1900, they didn't know they were playing Olympics. The events was from the May to October. There was no national anthem, there was no Olympic medal. It was a big sporting event, very popular, with 60,000 of people who were playing things that we don't not consider like sport. Like near the stadium, there is pigeon racing. In the lake here, there was fishing event. So why is it that? Because there was a new left-wing government after the Affaire Dreyfus in 1898. There was a government of Republican defense who was left, who organized this universal exhibition. And they wanted something that was popular. So the sport, the English sport, the British sport, they didn't like them, because it was the sport of the aristocracy, of the grande bourgeoisie, like Pierre de Coubertin, that was a very conservative and anti-democratic conception of physical exercise. So at the end here, there was cycling, because cycling was very popular. So there was 1 kilometer, 2 kilometers, 100 kilometers, 160 kilometers. And after that, the CIO decided that only 3 competitions of cycling were the Olympic events of the 1900. But in reality, it was not Olympics. There was also football, rugby, and cricket, but with 2 teams or 3 teams. And it was not very serious. At the end, it was a little bit away from the center of Paris. The big competitions of fencing, yachting, or tennis, it was on the west of Paris. The problem of Coubertin is that he wants to construct an Olympic legend. And before the Games of Stockholm in 1912, it was not Olympics. It was sporting exercise in international exhibition, like in Athens, in Paris, in London, in Saint Louis. It was not a real Olympic Games. It's after that, in 1924, for the real Olympic Games of Paris, that he decided that the sporting exercises here were to be considered as Olympic events.
And what was this stadium's association with the 1924 Games?
At the end, in 1924, it was not the big stadium of the Paris Games, because the French state decided to construct an Olympic stadium that has been constructed in Colombes, in the west of Paris. So there is still this stadium, but it was just used for track cycling. But the big monuments, sporting monuments, was the Stadium of Colombes and the Pershing Stadium, that is 1 kilometer here on the east, that has been constructed by the US Army for the inter-war Allies games in 1919 after the First World War.
And this historic venue has also been associated with another iconic sporting event, the Tour de France. Can you tell us more about it?
The biggest cycling event in the world, that is the Tour de France, and usually it finishes in the Parc des Princes. That was a Vélodrome stadium. But between 1969 and 1974, the new Parc des Princes was built in the west of Paris. So for 5 years, the arrival, the finish, the last step of the Tour de France occurs here, in this stadium. So it's Eddy Merckx, the cannibal, who won 3 Tour de France, finishing here in this stadium. The link with the Tour de France is evident in the stadium name. The stadium is named Jacques-Anquetil, who is one of the biggest French star of cycling. He won 5 times the Tour de France in the 60s.
The Bois de Vincennes is a popular destination for cycling enthusiasts. Today I am going for a 1-hour ride with my friend Baptiste. Why is this place so popular with cyclists?
Vincennes is close to Paris. It's in the middle of the wood, fresh air, but mostly it's a car-free road for cyclists.
Great. So let's go then.